Welcome, everybody, to the Brain Ladle Trivia Podcast. I am Davo, your master of ceremonies, your king of personality, your font of charm. What else, Neil? What?
The fool of being full of yourself.
Well, there is that. It's important for the host to be a little full of what they can do. You know, a little more interesting. You know,
if you say so.
I just did. So we have a bit of a special episode today, don't we, Neil?
Every episode's special, but this one's a little bit more special than usual.
Well, first off, we have to announce that our stalwart companion, Kells, is unable to join us today. He's doing something Kells related. But in his stead, we have Emily.
Hello.
She's wonderful. I think Emily's pretty great. Good at the trivia game. Good at life. Beautiful. Intelligent. Witty.
And he's not at all biased.
And my wife. So today, I thought we're recording this just after a few major holidays, right, guys?
Yep.
And I thought we should focus on Canada, because we just passed Canada Day. Now, that's a big deal. July 1st.
Yeah.
So, to our Canadian listeners, hello. This is for you. What's so funny, Neil?
I'm not sure we have any Canadian listeners at this moment.
Well, this is how we get them. This is how we get them.
Of course it is.
And speaking of listeners, you know, it's important that we talk about our listeners and say thank you, right?
Sure.
Thank you to everybody who listens to this wonderful podcast, who has a good time with it, who loves the trivia, who does all the things like that. So I would like to offer a special shout out to one of our fans. Her name is Lexi. Thank you for listening. I know you enjoy it and have a wonderful time with this episode based on Canada.
Is Lexi Canadian?
She is not.
She's
Coloradan, which is almost Canadian.
Yeah.
Plus or minus a state.
Or 3. But hey, we're not, who's counting?
They both have the legal marijuana now.
They do. Both. How do you think it's going to work in Canada? Because that's going to be kind of crazy having such a big place and so many people, you know, smoking the reefer. What do you think?
I think they're going to be even more chill than they already are.
That's going to be amazing. The nicest nation in the world.
There's going to be like one dude who's just like super angry and rude after smoking. And they're all just going to be like, what happened to you?
Stop harshing our buzz, man.
Yeah.
Man. So we're going to start off our Canada episode with a few basic Canada questions. I like to warm up the brain, stir the pot with the brain ladle, see what we can come up with. So, Canada basics, guys. Are you ready?
Ready.
Sure.
Question 1. What is the capital of Canada?
I'm locked in, I think. I mean, I know I'm locked in. I think I have the right answer.
I hope so. We want to start this celebration of our neighbors to the north off with a bang.
I was probably the wrong person to pick for this episode then.
Oh my gosh.
I'm locked in. Probably wrong.
Well, your first answer on the Brain Ladle Trivia Podcast ever
is going to be wrong. Awesome.
Is what?
Toronto?
Neil.
My first thought was Ontario, but then I thought they wouldn't make it.
Wasn't Ontario
Well, my final answer, the answer I actually wrote down, is Ottawa.
Neil, you are correct. Ottawa is the capital. Ottawa is in Ontario.
See, that's how confused I was. Is there not an Ontario?
And yet you got it right.
I don't think there is. So before we get too much farther, I am remiss. We did something. You know, I like to keep it loose. I like to keep it fun and relaxed. But Neil, you like to keep us on track.
I just like to know. I like to lay out the ground rules before we start playing, just so everybody knows how things are going. We have a guest today.
Yeah.
I know she's listened to all the episodes and knows the rules, but it's a good idea to go over it each time. So, is that what you're getting at? Is
That's totally what I'm getting at.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, the way the game is played is each week we have a theme, and we have 6 rounds of 4 questions each relating to that theme, and then some kind of final round, which can vary in format from time to time, but generally we'll be betting any or all of our points for that final question, and then Dave will determine if we're correct or not.
Well, I won't determine it. The answers will.
Well,
I'm not making this up as I go.
It will be self-evident who the winners are.
There you go.
It's probably going to be you.
A confidence, sweetie. Confidence.
I've blown many, many games in the last question, including the last one, stupid Antigua and Barbuda.
Yeah, you had that one.
Yeah.
It was on your hat.
Humility is key.
But I checked my hat. My hat just says Antigua.
Yeah.
It doesn't say Antigua and Barbuda.
Oh.
And I went to the island of Antigua. I did not go to Barbuda. So that's my excuse, as poor as it is.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Question 2. Canada is made up of both provinces and territories. Within 2, what is the total number of provinces and territories that make up Canada?
I'm locked in.
As am I.
Neil?
I wanted to say that there's 13, but I think that's the low end of my guess. And so to be safe, I went with 15.
Okay.
I said 11.
Well, you both managed to hit the outer edges of the range. The correct answer is 13. So 10 points for each of you. Question number 3. Canada is a Commonwealth of Great Britain. It is a constitutional monarchy and a parliamentary parliamentary democracy. That's a tough thing to say real fast.
Parliamentary democracy?
And Neil, you give it a go.
Parliamentary democracy?
Apparently it's just me. Who is the current Prime Minister of Canada?
I am locked in.
Are we good with last names, or do you need the first name?
We're good with last names on this one. Although technically, I could ask for first.
To avoid confusion.
To avoid some confusion for our Canadian listeners.
Well, I don't think they're the ones that are would be confused. But
well, they need to know that we know what we're talking about.
Okay. I'm locked in.
Okay. Emily.
Trudeau.
What is Prime Minister Trudeau's first name?
I think it's Justin or Jason.
Which one?
But I'm not sure.
You got to pick one.
I'm going to go with Justin.
Okay. Neil?
Yeah, I couldn't remember his first name, which is why I asked. But then as soon as I wrote down Trudeau, I was thinking it was Justin.
Current Prime Minister of Canada is Justin Trudeau. Now, what's the reason why we need clarity?
Because his father was Prime Minister a few decades ago.
Yes.
I think.
His father was Prime Minister. I
Pierre?
want to say his name was, I think, Gary Trudeau, but that's the guy who created the Far Side.
No, that is incorrect. Gary Larson created the Far Side. Gary Trudeau created Doonesbury.
So that's why you keep us on track.
Rife with misinformation.
Rife. But that's what you get with the brain ladle. You sometimes just scoop up something that looks delicious, but it's actually a pearl onion.
Question. The pearl onions were good?
Now I'm really confused though. Was it Gary Trudeau that did Doonesbury?
Yes.
Okay.
As a Gary,
you
yes.
just said he did Far Side, so how do you know?
So anybody listening to this episode, if you could send us a tweet at ladlebrain.
Why is it Little Brain?
Because I input the information incorrectly.
Oh yeah.
That's my fault.
I'd forgotten all about that.
I'm sure you did.
You know you can change that.
We're rolling. Question 4. Question 4.
It's become a running gag, so we can't.
Name the 2 dominant political parties in Canada. And for 2 bonus points, name another political party in Canada?
I'm locked in with an answer.
So am I.
Neil?
I really have no idea, so I'm assuming that they have similar names to our UK friends. So I went with Labour and Conservative, and I figure there must be a Green Party up there as well as down here.
Neil, you gave me some good answers. I like those answers. I like your thought process on it. But let's hear what Emily has to say.
Emily has to say she has absolutely no idea. I put down Whigs and Constitutionalists because I had no idea, so I just made something up.
Again, I like your thinking. The correct answers, the two dominant political parties right now are the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party. So you're almost there. You do get the 2 bonus points because there is a Green Party in Parliament. There is the New Democratic Party, as well as a party called Bloc Québécois.
I figured there was a Quebec only party, but wouldn't have been able to guess the name.
At the end of round 1, Neil, would you happen to have some scores for us?
I do. The current scores are Emily has 20 and Neil has 32.
Good scoring round. Good scoring round. I like it. So this next category is basic Canadian geography. Again, just to let our Canadian friends know, we know what we're talking about. So what is the longest river in Canada?
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in.
Emily?
I put the Hudson River because I don't know very many rivers in Canada.
Neil?
I felt like I'm probably going to regret this, but I went with the Yukon River.
What is there to regret, Neil, when you get the right answer?
Wow.
The mighty Yukon is 1,980 miles long. Question 2. What is Canada's tallest mountain?
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in with a clearly incorrect answer.
Well, how clearly incorrect is it?
I went with Mountain Maple Bacon.
I want to go there. That sounds awesome.
I at least used a Canadian name, Mount Saskatchewan.
Wow. Well, how much? See, maple bacon is pretty Canadian. Saskatchewan is actually Canadian, but the essence
because it's not like the strips of bacon that we use. It's actual Canadian bacon.
Real bacon.
The correct answer,
also known as ham.
I like Canadian bacon. Is Mount Logan. It is the second tallest mountain in North America after Denali, or Mount McKinley.
You think I should know what the second largest mountain in North America is? Well, I do now.
There you go. That's what we're for. We're stirring up the pot.
You would think that my darling husband would have given me a Wolverine-related clue.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to think of it as Mount Wolverine from now on.
Mount Wolverine. There you go.
I mean, his name is Logan.
Actually, his name is James Hewlett. He just never mind. What is Canada's largest province? You now know how many provinces and territories there are, and I'm asking specifically for province, not territory. For 2 bonus points, give me the smallest province.
I'm locked in.
Okay.
After waffling a bit, I am locked in as well.
With maple syrup. Oh, sorry. Emily, what did you choose?
Well, at first I had down Yukon, but I'm pretty sure that's a territory, so I second-guessed myself and said British Columbia. And for the smallest, I said Ontario.
Neil?
I had the same conundrum with Yukon, although I'm not sure that it's the largest of the territories. I think Northwest or Nunavut might be bigger.
Hmm.
So I ended up going with Ontario for the largest and Prince Edward Island for the smallest.
Is that its own province?
Yes.
Eek.
Neil, you got the bonus points. Unfortunately, you did not get the largest province in Canada, which is Quebec. Smallest, Prince Edward Island. Largest, Quebec. Question 4. In geography, what is the largest lake in Canada?
Do the Great Lakes count as being in Canada?
No.
That's important.
None
They're
of
on
them.
the border.
None of them are in Canada. One or two of them are partly in Canada.
Lake Superior and Lake Huron border the United States and Canada. They're smooshed. This lake is entirely in Canada.
Well, that's an important distinction.
It is, and you cut right to the quick of my question.
I'm locked in. I've got a 50-50 shot. I know what the two largest lakes are. I'm not sure if I remember which one is the actual largest.
I'm locked in with a fictional place.
Let's hear the fictional place.
Lake Ottawa?
Lake Ottawa, which abuts Mount Maple Bacon.
Yes.
Neil.
Well, I believe it is technically a Great Lake, and I think it's the Great Slave Lake. And if it's not that one, then it's the Great Bear Lake, and I got it wrong.
Looks like you got it wrong, Neil.
Damn.
It is the Great Bear Lake.
You had a real lake, though, and that's good. I'm just completely making up the geography of Canada as we go, which is so awful.
And not at all an insult to our Canadian friends.
Sorry. I'm bad at geography.
At the end of round 2, Neil, what are the scores?
Well, it's clear that for both of us, Canadian geography isn't our strong suit. Total scores right now are 44 for Neil and 20 for Emily.
Well, I think we're going to get back on track. We're going to move away. We're going to talk about Canadian cuisine. Canada is known for its cuisine.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
For purposes of this show, yes.
All right.
Question 1. Name the savory dish created in Quebec in the 1950s, which consists of French fries, cheese curds, and brown gravy.
Locked in.
Me too.
Brown gravy. Neil?
Poutine.
Poutine.
Also poutine.
Poutine. Love poutine.
I've never tried it, but I'm anxious to someday.
I don't think it can go wrong. Like, just the concept of it is fantastic.
I think I want to wait until I'm actually in Quebec to try it, though.
Yeah.
And that may be a while.
Yeah, pretty sure you have to actually go to Canada to get poutine worth its salt.
Worth its curds.
Worth its curds.
Brown gravy. Question 2. What is the name of the uniquely Canadian fast food establishment known for its coffee and donuts?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Emily?
Tim Hortons.
I also wrote Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons is correct. Now, Tim Hortons has seen a reduction in its popularity and market share in Canada due to some poor corporate decisions, like not raising wages, treating employees poorly, that sort of thing. And it's kind of losing its prestige within Canada. At least that's what I've read. Question number 3. What is the name of the uniquely Canadian potato chip flavor that combines barbecue, sour cream and onion, ketchup, and salt and vinegar into a tasty melange of flavors?
Are you sure you want to use the word tasty there?
It sounds good to me. Ketchup potato chips are amazing.
Once again, I shall lock in with a totally fictional answer.
I'm locked in with something I think is close, but probably not close enough.
Well, I'm interested in the fictional answer.
Tasty chips.
Yes. Neil?
So I believe that Ruffles has this flavor available in the U.S., and it has kind of an unusual name, and I wrote down all dressed. I think it feels like it's something like that, but I'm not sure.
I can't fight that feeling, Neil. You are absolutely correct.
Wow.
Those are the all-dressed potato chips. You can get them on Amazon. I imagine you could.
You can get anything on
You
Amazon.
can get them at Walmart.
Here?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think I've ever seen those here.
I'm going to look for them
I'm
today.
sure you
as a matter
are.
of fact. Question number 4. Final question in Canadian cuisine. Canadians love their maple syrup, which comes from Mount Maple Bacon. If I understand correctly. La Tire.
We may need to fact check that.
Okay, we'll
Okay.
look that up. La Tire, Tire, is a dessert made with maple taffy that is poured over what?
Spelled Tire.
Yeah, La Tire. It looks like tire, but I don't want to butcher the French Canadian pronunciation too much more than I already have. It is a maple taffy poured over what?
Yeah, I'm locked in.
Me too.
Neil?
I know it's not right. I went with the tire angle instead of donut.
Oh, that would be so good.
I was just trying to think of dessert foods, so I said ice cream.
You are close. Closer than Neil. The correct answer is it's poured over snow.
Huh.
It is a warm maple taffy that is poured over snow to allow it to cool, rolled up on a stick, and eaten like a lollipop.
I feel like I've heard you talk about that before. I think it was on one of those food shows you like so much.
It was. Anthony Bourdain, R.I.P. At the end of round 3, Neil, score me.
We've got Emily with 40 and Neil with 74.
You're slowly creeping away, Emily. You gotta make a game of it.
I actually am further back now than I was at the end of last round.
Yes, I know. But I'm trying to give you a little pep talk.
But the thing is, you're more than you have more than half of my points, so it's not a runaway. So you mathematically have a chance at this point. Whereas at the end of last round.
Well, if the final question is you can bet all of your points, I technically always have a chance, no matter how far behind I am. Because you might bet all your points and be wrong. It's happened before.
That's true. That assumes that I would make it in a poor decision, which has been known to happen, so I can't rule that out. Although I think right now I may be hyper aware of that at the end, so we'll see what happens.
Category 4 is movies. These movies have a Canadian bent, a little bit of Canadian action going on there. So as of 2017, which Canadian is the most bankable? They've made the most money at the box office, right? Is it Will Arnett? Is it Seth Rogen? Is it Jim Carrey? Or is it Kobe Smulders?
Kobe Smulders is a person?
Kobe Smulders is a lady. She is a fine actress. She was on a sitcom for a long time. That sitcom was called what?
How I Met Your Mother.
Yes. She played Robin.
Sherbatsky.
She's also on the Avengers films as Maria Hill.
Her character on How I Met Your Mother also was Canadian and had an alter ego named Robin Sparkles.
was really funny.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in as well.
Neil, what do you got?
Jim Carrey.
Emily?
I went with Kobe Smulders.
The correct answer is Will Arnett. That is due primarily to the success of his animated films such as Despicable Me, Ratatouille, The Lego Movie, and Lego Batman. He's made $5.6 billion at the box office.
Huh.
Question 2. Scott Pilgrim, set and shot in Toronto, is about the titular character's quest to woo Ramona through the defeat of her 7 evil exes. Who played Scott Pilgrim? And for 1 bonus point each, who played the 7 evil exes?
I'm going to take a pass on this one.
You're punting?
I have no idea. I saw the movie when it came out. I know it was some kid, but I don't remember who it was.
I have at least locked in the main character.
Okay, so Emily, who have you locked in?
I think it was Michael Cera.
Do you have any of the 7 evil exes?
Heck no.
Neil?
Nah. Couldn't think of Michael Cera. I knew it was one of those
lanky nerdy
young
boys.
Yeah, but I didn't know which one.
Well, that lanky nerdy boy is Canadian born. Michael Cera is the correct answer. As far as those 7 bonus points that you all just left laying on the ground,
dude,
they were played by Satya Baba.
well, of course. I should have known that.
That was the first evil X. Second evil X was played by Chris Evans. The third evil X was played by Brandon Routh. Fourth evil X was played by Mae Whitman. The Saito brothers, Shota and Kaita Saito, were the 5th and 6th. And the 7th evil X was played by Jason Schwartzman.
I've heard of one of those people.
You should. Which one?
Chris Evans.
What about Brandon Routh?
I've heard of him.
Superman.
I've heard of him. Sorry. 2.
So, question 3. Speaking of Michael Cera appeared in Juno, which is a 2007 film featuring Ellen Page, who is also Canadian, about a young girl dealing with a pregnancy in a unique and heartwarming way. This indie film was a hidden gem that earned critical praise and box office success. It made $231 million on a $6.5 million budget.
U.S. or Canadian?
And we're going to go with U.S. It earned a Best Original Screenplay Oscar. Who wrote that screenplay? And as a clue, she has a very, very unique name. Very memorable name. She kind of came out of nowhere when she wrote this screenplay. It was not expected that she would do this well. But I'm glad she did. She writes good movies.
Yeah, it's one of those I'm gonna know it when you say it, but I'm not gonna be able to recall it. I remember enjoying the movie the one time I watched it 10, 15 years ago, or however long it came out.
Yeah. He knows I'm really bad at authors and artists and such, so this is super nice of him.
Are you locked in?
Yeah.
Are you locked in?
I'm locked in with nothing.
You punted again?
I don't know. I can't.
Man.
I don't know.
I locked in with a made-up name.
Okay.
Anissa Lee.
That's a cool made-up name, but the actual name is Diablo Cody.
See, I recognize it as soon as you said it, but I don't. There's no way I was going to recall that.
There's no way I would have known that.
She's an amazing, amazing story. You should.
I'm not saying she isn't.
Take a gander at her story. It's pretty good. Question 4 in movies. Name the Canadian co-stars featured in the lead roles in The Notebook, who reportedly disliked each other intensely despite being part of an iconic romance.
I'm locked in.
You know you like The Notebook, Neil.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Well,
See, I have a sister and a mom and female friends, and
yeah.
they like that kind of thing.
Did you like this kind of thing?
Not really, no.
Why not?
I don't like Nicholas Sparks books because I feel like he makes things tragic just to make people feel things rather than actually building characters that are relatable that you can emotionally connect with.
Wow. Harsh criticism from Mr. Sparks.
I'm locked in.
Have you ever read any of his books?
Absolutely not.
There you go.
Neil, what do you got?
Ellen DeGeneres and Will Arnett.
That would be a glorious movie. Glorious.
I don't even know if she's Canadian.
Would have been a lot better, actually.
She's not. She's from Missouri, but
Was she in that movie, though?
No.
Wasn't there some comedian in that movie?
Probably.
Yeah.
What do you got, Emily?
Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling.
Two very pretty Canadians. You are correct, Emily. Neil, give me some scores.
Well, talking about catching up, Emily has 60 and Neil still has 74.
Not so hot on the Canadian-related movies there, eh?
Movies in general, kind of, I think you could say, but maybe Canadian especially.
Right. Well, we're about to dive into some music. So what I'm going to do for these questions is I'm going to name three hits, 3 songs. You write down, lock in, the Canadian artist responsible for these 3 songs.
All right.
Number 1, started from the bottom, God's Plan, Hotline Bling.
Locked in.
Emily is currently experiencing that uniquely trivia brain ladle emotion of I know it, but I can't get my brain ladle deep enough into the pot to scoop it out.
I have a little short baby handle. Not a lot of practice. I'll lock in a clearly incorrect answer.
Oh, how clearly incorrect.
Drake.
Neil?
Bieber.
The correct answer is Drake.
What?
Drake is the correct answer.
I knew it was a rapper.
It was clearly the correct choice. Number 2, Cuts Like a Knife. Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman? Summer of '69.
Locked in.
I can never remember that guy's name, but I locked something in.
Neil?
Bryan Adams.
Bryan Adams.
The correct answer is Bryan Adams. Question number 3. Old Man, Southern Man, Rockin' in the Free World.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Emily?
I have no idea on this one. I said John Denver, who I don't think is even Canadian.
No. Neil?
Neil Young.
Neil Young is the correct answer.
You picked a Neil, and
For Neil.
Neil's playing? That seems unfair.
Well, we have this club
Right.
that we all belong to.
The Neil Club.
So if you were playing trivia with Neil Young or the former astronaut Neil Armstrong and said, name a database administrator from Northwest Arkansas, they would all say, they would know who it was.
Obviously.
Of course. Question number 4. Ashes, Because you loved me, my heart will go on.
Locked in.
I'm locked in.
I'm a little curious, Neil. What do you got?
I mean, that last one kind of vaguely sounded like a Celine Dion song.
So you locked in with?
Yes.
Celine Dion.
And Emily?
Yes, that is a Celine Dion song.
They are all Celine Dion songs. At the end of round 5, Neil, we got some scores.
Emily with 90 and Neil with 104.
Ooh. It's a game. It is a game. And you know what I like to do for my final categories there, Neil? They're my favorite final categories.
Pickup lines?
No, those are Kel's.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Final categories.
I get
Mine.
you guys confused.
Can it be pickup lines?
Mine is actually sports.
Oh, yeah. They play sports in Canada?
They play a lot of sports in Canada.
Can it be pickup lines?
Unfortunately,
hey,
no.
We're on equal ground here, Emily.
Well, I don't know. He talks to me a lot, so I might actually have a bit of an edge.
Sports. Question 1. What is the national sport of Canada?
Locked in?
I'm locked in.
Emily?
I went with the obvious and said hockey.
I went with the maybe slightly less obvious and went with curling.
The correct answer is lacrosse. Speaking of hockey, question number 2. There are 31 teams in the National Hockey League. How many of them are Canadian? And since you guys aren't sports guys, or gals, or ladies, or peoples, humans, within 2, I'll give you a range. How many teams in the National Hockey League are Canadian?
Locked in.
Within 2, you said?
Within 2. I recognize neither one of you is a particular fan of sport.
And yet you made it a category.
It's always a category.
Not true.
You know, somebody asked me about that. He said, do you always have to have sports as a category? And I told them one of our goals when we were designing the game was, since we have 6 categories every game, to try to have some of the standard categories in every game, including sports, movies, music.
Yeah.
So almost every game we play is going to have those categories, plus whatever other ones are appropriate. I like the science and geography ones, and Dave likes food.
I do.
I'm locked in with an answer.
What do you got, Neil?
Well, I could name 4 off the top of my head, and since you gave us a range of 2, and I figured there's probably others I'm not thinking about, I answered 6.
Excellent.
I wasn't sure, but I remember it being a comparatively small number, so I put 2.
The correct answer is 7.
I could name the Calgary Flames,
Mm-hmm.
the Toronto or the Maple Leafs,
So the Maple Leafs,
the Vancouver somethings,
Canucks. Yeah.
And Ontario is the Canadiens.
Montreal
Montreal
is the Canadiens. You also have the Ottawa Senators, the Winnipeg Jets, the Edmonton Oilers.
Oilers. I know that one. That's where what's his name played for a long time, right? Gretzky.
Yes, absolutely.
The only 2 of those I could think of were the Maple Leafs and the Canucks. So,
Question 3.
I had a Flames jersey for a while once when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought it looked cool.
They do look cool. That flaming sea is really awesome looking. Question number 3. What is the mandated weight range for a curling stone? Is it 23 to 31 pounds, 32 to 38 pounds, 38 to 44 pounds, or 45 to 52 pounds?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Emily,
I went with B.
32 to 38 pounds.
Yes.
It's always C.
It's always C.
Except when you're trying to fool people and choose B. I've listened to the episodes.
The first one's always C. The second one is never C.
38 to 44 pounds. C is correct. Neil's playing the game. He's playing the player, not the questions. The final question before the big whammy zammy Canadian round. What is the name of the trophy and championship of the Canadian Football League, which has been awarded for the last 105 years?
I'm locked in.
Sure, why not?
Emily?
I have no idea, so I put the not Stanley Cup.
But you're right in that sense. Neil, what do you got?
It's another one that I'm probably going to know when you say the answer, but I couldn't pull it, so I went with the McMaple Bacon Cup.
McMaple Bacon? Mount McMaple Bacon. I love it. The correct answer is the Grey Cup.
Yep.
Okay, sure.
No, I've heard of it, but I would never have guessed it.
Well, it's been the longest running football trophy in the world. So before I ask my final question to honor our Canadian friends, Neil, can you give us a score recap?
Sports was not good to Emily. She still has 90. I managed to pull out a couple of them with wild ass guesses and got 124.
Still anybody's game. The final question is this. Now, first, make your wagers.
Any hints as to what the category might be?
Canadian cities. This is why we keep Neil around. He keeps me on my toes and on task. And I desperately need that.
My wager's locked in.
As is mine.
Name 7 of the 10 most populous Canadian cities.
So to be clear, we're going to give you 10, what we think are 10, and we need to get 7 of them correct?
Yes.
I'm trying to at least name one city in each province. But that assumes I can remember the names of each province and then pick out a city from each one of those.
I've locked in with at least 7 actual cities and then 3 made up ones.
Okay, I'm locked in.
I will read the list. You will tell me if you have it on your list. Cool?
Yep.
Number 1 is Toronto.
Got it.
Got it.
Number 2 is Montreal.
Got it.
Got it.
Number 3 is Calgary.
Got it.
Do not got it.
Number 4 is Ottawa.
Got it.
Got it.
Number 5 is Edmonton.
Got it.
Do not got it.
Number 6 is one that's going to be tough for me to pronounce, but we're going to do it. Mississauga.
Don't got it.
Nope.
It's in Ontario. Population 721,599. Number 7 is Winnipeg.
Don't got it.
Me neither.
Number 8 is Vancouver.
Got it.
I do have that one.
Number 9 is Brampton.
Don't got it.
I don't think I've ever even heard of that.
It's a suburb of Toronto, I believe. I'll look that up. And number 10 is Hamilton.
Nope.
Emily, how many do you have?
4.
Neil, how many do you have?
6.
All right. This looks like it's going to come down to the wagers. Emily, what'd you wager?
Well, I didn't want to wager 0 my first turn, although I did kind of assume I was going to not get it, so I wagered 10.
10. Which gives you a final score of?
80.
80. Neil?
I had to play it safe and bet 0, And so I ended up with 124.
Neil, you are our Canadian winner. Congratulations.
Yay!
Thank you, eh?
By the way, the city in Anne of Green Gables was Kingston.
Kingston, thank you.
Which I did write down, but it's not a big city, and I knew that it wasn't. I just didn't have anything good.
See, you've got Canadian knowledge you didn't know you had.
No, I knew that.
Oh. Well, anyway.
I couldn't think of Edmonton, which was really bothering me.
Yeah, that was one of the hockey teams that I that's the one that triggered me, that if I could think of those 7 hockey teams, I'd have a good shot at getting several of the biggest cities.
Yeah.
Well, if you named all the hockey teams, you would have gotten all the cities you needed.
Well,
So sports is important, guys.
I beg to differ, but okay.
So, did you learn something today? Did you enjoy the Canadian quiz?
I did.
I did, yes.
Awesome.
I think watching almost every season of the Trailer Park Boys really helped me out. Did you know, speaking of Ellen Page, here's a little trivia nugget.
Yeah.
I believe it was her first acting job was on Trailer Park Boys.
Was it?
Yes.
Wow.
She played Leahy's daughter.
Lady's daughter.
Leahy.
Oh.
Mr. Leahy.
Oh,
sorry,
wow,
if you're
really?
not familiar with the show, it's
I've seen
he's
one or
the
two
drunk.
episodes.
He's a drunk trailer park supervisor.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for playing, Emily.
Of course, they're all drunk most of the time.
They are.
Unless they're stoned.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will come back again.
I think I will.
Yay. So we have this massive online presence. We've got a webpage at brainladletrivia.com. We've got the Twitter. It's at ladlebrain. We've got Facebook, Brain Ladle Productions. We've got email addresses if you want to talk to us. Mine is Davo at brainladle.com. Neil's is
Neil at brainladle.com.
And I think Kel's is Kel's at brainladle.com. So get in touch with us. We want to know. We want to hear from you guys. We want to thank you all very much for listening, downloading. We would like you to rate it, like it, give us those 5 stars. We need all the help we can get. So from everybody here at Brain Ladle headquarters, I am Davo with
Neil
and the lovely
Emily.
signing off.